Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is your boy D Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. What's going on, guys? Happy to see you. What I should call this happy Friday. Happy Friday. Listen, guys, this is your XRP Ripple Daily News in 0 to 10 minutes. Let's do this. So I wanted to share this article from Coil from Karsten DE. It was a really good write-up. So I wanted to share it with you. It's really great insight. So the title of the article is Ripple's ODL in Action. Insights from FlashFX regarding growth in consumer integration and the inner workings of ODL. So the summary is basically FlashFX, Nicholas Steiger provides valuable insights into how ODL works. Significant growth is expected in the Australian dollar in the Philippine corridor, and the number of available endpoints slant corridors until the end of 2020. Ripple deploys customer-specific XRP pools as buffer against volatility on exchanges. There is no flip of a switch to magically increase ODL volume. So this is kind of his synopsis for summary. So we're going to go through the whole article here. You could ask, why all that talk around ODL? The answer is twofold. A, ODL was the very first product in history using digital assets like XRP that is scalable and used in a business context. So we are potentially witnessing the beginnings of a financial revolution in real time. You are allowed to be excited. B, the existence, capabilities, and scale of ODL is still unknown to the majority of people that are interested in digital assets. Even potential customers of ODL, like experienced bankers, have difficulties understanding the technological foundation. So important, guys, to really get that. Because a lot of times we think us in the community, no, we are in the minority big time. And we don't even know all of its capabilities. This article demonstrates, by the way, how ODL customers don't have to hold. They don't have to hold XRP. Month by month, new information surfaces about ODL, how ODL works, be it from Ripple itself or from members of RippleNet that actually use ODL. In the last weeks, Nicholas Steiger from FlashFX started answering questions around FlashFX and their ODL usage at XRP Chat. Thanks a lot for that. Also for XRP Chat user Tiny Account for facilitating the Ask Me Anything, the AMA. The information is very insightful, but due to the thread format, a bit unstructured. Hence, this post is an attempt to structure our learnings around ODL, mostly based on Steiger's input. Make it Steiger. Nicholas Steiger. FlashFX growth plans for ODL volume. FlashFX is currently sending money mostly via the Australian, Filipino, and Australian US dollar corridor. Philippines. Cool. They also serve as an endpoint to process payments into Australia's new payments platform in real time and expect volume growth thanks to this RippleNet enabled capability. From my understanding, FlashFX has currently a bigger focus on C2C payments, consumer to consumer, but they plan to get more and more B2B type volume from credit unions, digital banks, and the likes. For the Australian inbound volume, FlashFX expects to increase their market share at the expense of incumbent banks. It is the only licensed entity in Australia on RippleNet, and Steiger expects that no Australian bank will use ODL for some time due to the lack or need or understanding, and it is not a regulatory issue. Remember, they don't have to hold XRP in parentheses. FlashFX is connecting to any available ODL endpoint and expects transactions with 3 to 5 additional RippleNet members in Q1, 3 to 5 additional, and even more in Q2 of 2020. Regarding available ODL endpoints, Steiger considers it possible to have 20 ODL endpoints by the end of the year. Remember that we currently have 5 endpoints: US dollar, Philippines, Australian, Mexican, Euro. With 5 quarters, USD, Mexican USD, Philippine, Australian USD, and Euro USD being used. With 5 endpoints, there could be, in theory, 10 bidirectional quarters. 20 endpoints in different currencies would translate into 190 possible quarters by the end of 2020. As today, that doesn't mean that every one of those 190 quarters would be necessarily used. Noteworthy is also the fact that it is currently not possible to execute payments from RippleNet to local US rails. Every ODL transaction stops with having US dollars available at Bitstamp. To distribute ODL payments into traditional local rails like bank accounts, an institution would need to be licensed for that in every United States. Steiger hopes that this issue is resolved soon. We will later in Q1 enable a new partner in Q1 that will drive some tremendous growth and flow into the Australian-Philippine corridor. Regarding the Australian-Philippine corridor, FlashFX expects to enable a new partner end of Q1 that might drive further growth. End consumer integration. FlashFX has a fully automated integration of ODL into their very easy to use and nicely designed consumer front end. It means the consumer is not necessarily aware of the fact that he just triggered an ODL flow and that he uses XRP and exchanges like BTC markets to move his money. From a consumer perspective, the steps are as follows. The user enters a request to send money from Australia to Philippines on FlashFX website. This request then is automatically forwarded to trigger a RippleNet request. This is so important, guys. Remember, the person walking into prospective money transmitter business, they just walking in there, they're trying to send money from Australia to the Philippines, right? Or they're doing it on their phone, they're doing it on their laptop, right? They don't know anything about what's going on in terms of digital assets or RippleNet or any of that, right? They're just trying to send their dude or someone, family member, some money, right? This request then is automatically forwarded to trigger a RippleNet request for a certain amount of Aussie dollars, choosing the respective target, example, Philippine peso. The user gets the response from RippleNet with a FlashFX rate and transaction fees forwarded in real time. He might just see the amount of the target currency. The amount of the target currency is updated in real time via RippleNet. The user decides whether the target amount is good and executes the trade through FlashFX's website. The Australian dollar is deducted from the user's balance and credited at the targeted destination, like a bank account. The FlashFX user gets confirmed that the transaction was successfully executed. Now, between steps 4 and 6, the inner workings of RippleNet and ODL come into play, which we will look at in a second. Okay, the process described above does not only work with ODL, also a pre-funded route, example, former X current, could be made available. RippleNet then would automatically choose the most efficient path. The inner workings of the RippleNet ODL. For me, the most interesting part of Steiger's AMA was around Nicholas Steiger was around the inner workings of ODL. Let's sketch out what happens between steps 4 and 6 above in a simple way. The sending exchange, like BTC markets, debits FlashFX for the amount they want to send based on the user's request. XRP is bought from the XRP Australian order book. The XRP is sent to the receiving exchange, like Cointelegraph. If multiple receiving exchanges exist, the cheapest path is automatically chosen. Okay, automatically chosen. On Cointelegraph, the received XRP is converted to Philippine pesos via the XRP PHP order book. Cointelegraph forwards the payment on local rails and credits the target destination, like the bank account, for example. RippleNet confirms the transaction complete. These steps raise 3 main questions. The other thing is how fast this is done. But these steps raise three main questions. Liquidity. How is ensured? How is it ensured that the order book is always filled properly so that the trades between XRP and fiat currencies can be executed? Volatility. What happens in times of high volatility price changes significantly in the seconds XRP is sent from sending to receiving exchange, and the expected amount of target currency is lower or higher than quoted. Rebalancing. What happens if a quarter is mainly used one way, like the USD and Mexico? Liquidity. So let's talk liquidity first. Liquidity. So so-called market makers come into play to ensure there is enough liquidity. If an order book is hit by a bigger market order, liquidity is immediately replenished by those market makers. The market makers themselves can manage, hedge their risk to XRP exposure via tools like futures. Professional market makers like GSR adjust the order book with a fully automated process. In fact, I have a video of the guy from GSR. According to Steiger, Ripple makes sure that the sending and receiving exchanges are covered by a number of market makers for a sufficient supply of liquidity. Volatility. As publicly stated by Brad Garlinghouse, XRP-based transactions are subject to less volatility than SWIFT-based transactions, as they need only seconds to execute instead of days. Of course, the volatility risk is still larger than zero, and it seems Ripple has come up with an elegant solution. Pools of XRP provided by Ripple, specific for each RippleNet customer. These XRP pools are basically insurance policies to ensure that the required amount of the target currency can be bought. Steiger assumes it could work like this. If the price of XRP goes down and the receiving exchange can buy less of the target currency than anticipated seconds earlier, Ripple tops up the mixing XRP from the XRP pool. If the price of XRP goes up and the receiving exchange can buy more of the target currency, the excess XRP are added to the XRP pool. With that mechanism, ODL customers have zero volatility risk, guys. This is brilliant. Also, it's a nice extra income for Ripple if the prices increases more than it decreases in the future. Interesting side note. It's a nice extra income for Ripple if the prices increases more than it decreases in the future. Interesting. I love this quote. It's a myth that any business that flows will be equal. The idea that TransferWise is a fully P2P business and all flows are matched is one of those. Rebalancing. Flows in a quarter will never net themselves completely out. Some quarters might in general be more skewed to one side, example USD to Mexican, than others, Australia to USD. To be honest, it took me some time to understand how the rebalancing works, but Steiger made an effort to dumb it down for me. Here we go. Let's say a liquidity provider, i.e. market maker, is operating at Bitso or CoinsPH. The market maker will amass XRP over time, as a lot of XRP needs to be bought up in exchange for Mexican peso or Philippine peso. XRP, of course, is easy to rebalance. The challenge here is to have enough Mexican peso or Philippine pesos at the respective exchange. That's where the challenge lies. A market maker on a sending exchange like BTC Markets, on the other hand, amasses AUD over the day. Here, the challenge is to get rid of that excess AUD and restock the XRP. To sum it up, sending exchanges like BTC Markets accumulate fiat currency like Australian dollars. Receiving exchanges e.g. Bitso, Coins PH, accumulate XRP over the day. This is going on constantly all day. Sending exchanges need to provide XRP for liquidity. Receiving exchanges need to provide fiat currency, like Mexican pesos or Philippine pesos, for liquidity. You get that, guys? Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? How to solve that problem for one directional corridors? A sending exchange might trade the excess fiat currency that they have. This will typically happen outside of RippleNet via traditional rails. The US dollar is then used to restock XRP. Genius. On the other hand, fiat currencies need to be restocked at receiving exchanges. The excess XRP could be used to buy the US dollar, trade that US dollar into the required fiat currency, and deposit it at the respective exchange via traditional rails. If the same market maker operates on sending and receiving exchanges, the excess fiat collected at the sending exchange could also be traded into the fiat currency required at a receiving exchange, e.g., the accumulated AUD from BTC markets could be traded into PHP or MXN and sent to Coins PH or Bitso. FlashFX also facilitates that rebalancing for market makers outside of RippleNet. Outside of the net, guys. Enabling ODL for RippleNet customers. First things first, let's get rid of another hype tail. The purported flip of a switch that will shoot ODL volume towards infinity when all existing Ripple customers go live with ODL simultaneously is non-existent. As explained by Nicholas Steiger, using ODL within RippleNet has some pre-work to be done. A member of RippleNet that wants to send or receive via ODL will need to have commercial agreements with each other outside of RippleNet. The entities go through a bilateral KYC and AML screening process. A sending and receiving entity will need to trust each other and have a commercial agreement outside of RippleNet, as the existing RippleNet agreements do not cater for country-specific commercial terms. There was and is a lot to learn around ODL, and it is great to have someone like Nicholas from FlashFX explaining the workings to the community and people like me that don't have a finance background. The more I learn about the details of ODL, the more excited I am about the potential of the product and digital assets, XRP specifically, combined with the expected exponential use growth, as discussed in another article, we can look forward to exciting times, guys. So that is a great write-up. I love that it's on Coil. Glad to be on here, streaming some payments to someone. And the author is Karsten D.E. Let me follow him, as a matter of fact. That was him or her. That was a great, absolutely great read. So guys, there you go. There it is. What a great breakdown on how the whole ODL works. Great. It's absolutely awesome to be able to level up our XRP IQ and learn more about how all of these things work. Really exciting time, guys. All right, listen, guys, I'm going to wrap up this video. I know this was a little longer than 10 minutes, but I wanted to make sure you guys got this. I'm going to wrap this video up like I do all my videos and remind you of this. That is, old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.